It's the Scotty Myers Show.
Hey, welcome to the show this week. Of course, I'm your host, Scotty Myers, joined this week by my lovely wife, Natalie.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Just another day where I don't brush my teeth or change my underwear.
Wow. So glad I came home. I got to go to the office, so it was cool. Kind of a little bit of normalcy back in my life today. It must have been nice to not have me around.
It was. It got a little lonely. You know, I needed your advice on a couple things, and then you weren't there. But I figured it out, I think.
So what you're saying, if you have enough time in the day, I'm not needed.
No.
It's basically what you're saying. So as we continue to roll, today was, if you're like me, a huge kind of Disney fan, today was a good day. First little step of opening. Because Disney Springs opened up today.
Oh, okay.
Some of it, not all of it. The Disney-run stores will open next week, but some of the other restaurants and stores opened up.
Oh.
I guess the lineups are crazy. I was looking at pictures, and the lineups for some, especially for some of the restaurants, super long.
Why?
It's good food.
I think people just want to be out.
That's a big part of it. But here's the really kind of weird thing that I think people were overreacting to, in my opinion, is Disney even tweeted this out and put it on their Facebook and all that kind of stuff. Is basically, if you're coming to Disney Springs, and this is definitely going to carry over to the park when they open the parks up, you're doing so at your own risk.
Yeah.
And they really put it out there. And in my head, I understand why, because we live in this super litigious world where people like to sue for whatever reason. But in my head, it's like, isn't it like going to the grocery store is going at your own risk right now?
Going anywhere. Yeah, even a park.
And even when there isn't a pandemic, you're going at your own risk.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you trip and fall in Disney, unless it's negligent, it's not their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just one of those things where it made me sad that they had to plaster that out there so much to cover their ass. You
have to nowadays, anywhere. I mean, locally, malls and stores are starting to open too, and they're going to have to say those things as well. I mean, it is a little sad that people don't put two and two together, but have you read the Facebook comments on any post about the pandemic or any news article? I mean, there are people out there that want to suck the teat of excuses. And, you know, if they get sick, they want to blame the fact that somebody else made them sick rather than, well, maybe you shouldn't have gone out.
Yeah.
Did you really need to go to Bootlegger? Did you really need to go to
Bootlegger?
You know, store in the mall.
Like that was the first store that popped into your mind.
It was so random. I mean, nobody really needs anything right now at Disney Springs or a mall, really.
I need new sneakers.
Yeah, but really?
But I need to try them on. Yes. Yes.
Well, don't lick anybody while you're out because it's your fault.
That's how I get my discounts.
That's how we met.
A little tongue wagging from Scotty Myers goes a long way. A little more than 20% off. Obviously, with some extra free time, I've gone down some YouTube rabbit holes. And I went down one the other day that I thought was kind of interesting because it got me thinking. And I don't know your take on this. Parallel universes or alternate dimensions.
Okay.
Do you believe they exist?
Are we getting into this again?
What do you mean?
Well, you already talked about aliens and if I believed that there was aliens out there. I mean,
totally
isn't the same
topic.
thing?
No.
Because my belief in that conversation was that there's probably a world like Earth, but everything is like...
But that would be in space.
Yeah. Okay, what are you talking about?
Parallel universes or alternate dimensions. So basically, it's not somewhere that you can go with like a ship. It's like... listen, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to explain this very well. But basically, there's a world just like ours.
Yeah.
Maybe a little different. Like
okay.
For our example, there's an Earth where we're not married.
That sounds like heaven.
I'm just saying, like, but that's an example, like a very easy example of a parallel universe that's kind of like ours, but minorly different.
Okay, so how did you get on this? Are you going to become one of those Facebook commenters I was talking about earlier? Or you're just going to be like, this is the left's excuse for making pandemics a thing?
No. This
is what they want you to believe.
First off, like, if you want to go really down, scientists, some think this is a plausible thing, that there are many different parallel universes or alternate dimensions. And then also for me, growing up a comic book fan, there's always been the multiverse, where, on Earth whatever, Superman's bad, or, those types of things. So they've existed in comics forever, and some scientists think they could exist here. So, some have even said almost every major decision that you've ever had in your life where you go left or right, in another dimension, you do the opposite. So you go right, and in the other dimension, you go left.
Okay, that was also a Gwyneth Paltrow movie in the 90s. I can't remember what it's called. Sliding Doors.
You're really making me question science now. If your thing is, that was a Gwyneth Paltrow movie. She sells candles scented like her crotch. I don't...
Well, did you hear about... Is this coming from the story I was reading earlier about NASA uncovering evidence of a parallel universe?
No, I did not know that.
It just came out today. I thought that you were...
No, I was watching YouTube videos about people sharing their stories where they think they slipped into a parallel universe. And I don't know that those people are right or wrong. I'm not going to question them, but some of the stories were very interesting.
Well, scientists at NASA have uncovered evidence of a bizarre, they're calling it, parallel universe where the rules of physics and time appear to be operating in reverse. So they were doing an experiment in Antarctica and discovered particles from a universe that was born during the same Big Bang created, like Earth, that we know and live in now, using a giant balloon. And they encountered a wind of particles from outer space that were 1,000,000 times more powerful than anything they'd seen before.
So it's like Bizarro World. So like Bizarro Superman says goodbye instead of hello. So
and
that
it's
was
like
going in
close
reverse.
to us because all they needed to find out about these is just one of those weather balloons. It's close. It's here.
Well, that's the thing. It's right here. So, as I was sitting here reading about these parallel universes or listening about stories of them and all that kind of stuff, and how your life could be drastically different, except for, one could be very different based on a decision or something like that. I was like, that means there's a parallel universe out there where I was a pro ball player.
Oh, there's a parallel universe out there where I was a gorgeous model.
Exactly.
Because my parents never met.
Why? That's an insult to your parents. But it's just an interesting thing. So, and you know what? In a weird way, that brought me comfort. That there was a Scotty out there in a parallel universe living his dream.
It doesn't make me feel comforted because that means you could be making pro ball money. And here we are living in an apartment.
Listen, if I was a pro ball player, I don't know that our paths would have crossed.
Oh, so smug in your face.
I think,
Are you trying to let me down easy in a parallel universe?
I would have married Alyssa Milano or something like that. She's a big baseball fan. Something like that. So, I just don't think our paths would have crossed because I would have never gotten into radio. I wouldn't have been at the party. I'm just saying. Just saying.
I mean, you can just think about the choices you make. Whether it was going to school for something or not getting dumped by somebody or breaking up with somebody or whatever. And you think, yeah, you can almost play it out. I think maybe it helps the older you get. You start to realize if I didn't go down that path or if I didn't make that choice, that's what would have ended up happening. Like if I stayed with so-and-so, I'd have kids right now.
Right.
And a house. And you gotta think like, I don't know if that's what I wanted then. Because you're younger and you don't understand what you want or what you don't want.
But there could be a parallel universe where that's exactly what you wanted.
But then there'd have to be like 80 different parallel universes.
Probably more than that. I like the thought of it, though. I love the thought.
It's all you can hang on to right now.
Pretty much. I'm an old man. I'm out of shape. I got a bum knee. You go, alternate universe, Scotty. On to the off story of the week. And this one's just a term that I saw pop up. And it's been on a few headlines. And I understand the rationale behind the term. I just think they should have come up with a better term. So, of course, we're all locked down. And some of us are not as lucky as you and I to be locked down with someone else, their significant other. Mm-hmm. And so a new term has popped up called skin hunger.
Oh, yeah.
Which means just physical contact. Like hugging, kissing, just physical contact of another person. We have the term for that already. Physical contact. Skin hunger sounds like cannibalism.
Oh. It's the yearning your body, your skin wants to be embraced and touch.
Touch. Physical contact. See, these things already exist.
But if you put hunger, it makes it sound like, it makes it more poetic, more, there's the yearning. I mean, or you could be like us, a married couple, and I recoil from your touch. You're having skin hunger. I'm having I'm full. Skin satiated, satisfied. I had my skin protein.
The recoil is keeping my therapist in business. But I don't like the term. I think we already have terms for this. Murphy, calm down. And, I just think skin hunger just sounds wrong. It sounds like we're a bunch of Hannibal Lecters.
We want to lick our skin. Nom nom, the salty. Self-isolation salt.
How do you know human skin is salty?
You never licked your own skin? How'd you practice kissing when you were a kid?
I didn't practice. I'm just naturally good.
Again, back to my recoil from your touch.
All right, on to the geek news. Because when I say massive geek news, it's fucking massive geek news. And I could not be happier. So, if we go back a couple of years, a little movie was released called Justice League. And it did so-so at the box office. Didn't do the numbers that Warner Brothers was hoping that it was going to do. And that's for a few different reasons. Part of it, a big part of it, is that Zack Snyder, the guy that directed Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, who was continuing the story he started in those movies, left the project. Unfortunately, his child, his daughter, committed suicide. And so he left the project to deal with a family tragedy. Warner Brothers said, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to bring in Joss Whedon to edit. And it ended up being reshooting almost the entire movie. According to Zack Snyder, he said you only saw about a quarter of what he shot in the Justice League movie that was out in theaters. So since then, there's been this online movement, hashtag. I've been part of it. I've tweeted it out a few times of hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Today, it was announced that we are getting the Snyder Cut.
Wow. In
2021, which I'll get into in a minute as to why that's significant. And I got some details on that. But the fact that we're getting this movie, it's only going to be on HBO Max streaming service, which as of right now is not in Canada. So I will need to be in the States the day the Snyder Cut is released. But we're going to get this in 2021. Now, why I say that's significant is Snyder has screened his version of the Snyder Cut already to various people. Jason Momoa saw it. Ray Fisher, the guy that played Cyborg, he saw it. Apparently Henry Cavill has seen it. Ben Affleck has seen it. The cast has seen it. Some people have said that Kevin Smith has seen it. He's kind of hinted that he may or may not have seen it.
But it's a different cast though, right?
Same cast.
Oh, okay.
Cavill, same cast of the movie that you saw because you went to Justice League with me. And here's the thing. Warner Brothers, he screened it for them about 2 weeks ago, according to all reports. There's a new head of Warner Brothers. Obviously, they liked what they saw, or they wouldn't be releasing it. Not only did they like what they saw, reports are they're putting 20 to 30 million into this movie to finish it, because not all the visual effects are done. That's why we have to wait till 2021. So we are going to get a completed version of the Snyder Cut. Most of us that were tweeting about it were just like, I don't care that the effects aren't finished. I just want to see the story.
Okay.
But we're going to get a finished film.
But people who are not diehard fans, or just maybe people just like movies, they want to see the finished results. They don't care about story. So it's a vastly different story from all accounts from what I've heard. There's a lot more, especially for the newer characters like Cyborg and Flash and stuff like that. They fill in a lot more of their stories, like their origins and stuff like that, which is great. That leads to the other point. There might have to be some reshoots or some dialogue pickups. The original cast could come back to do that. So Ben Affleck could return as Batman to maybe do some reshoots for this, which would be very cool. And it leads to the other thing that I'm going to say. This is like a magician's hanky. It keeps coming out of the sleeve. It doesn't stop. And this has been so long in the make. I honestly I thought this was going to be mythical. Like, I probably thought I would go to my grave with my tombstone having #release the Snyder Cut on it, because it was just, I never thought we would get to the point where it was going to become a reality, let alone a reality that they're putting money into. That says a lot to me. And here's the thing, Justice League Part 1, the initial plan was Snyder was going to shoot Part 1 and Part 2 back to back because they continued a story. This whole arc, it's been a Superman arc from Man of Steel through Batman v Superman to Justice League 2. It's been an entire arc. So now also leads to the question of, could it lead to the proper Justice League sequel? I was thinking about it today. There's really not much they would have to do outside of bringing the cast back, which most of them are under contract anyway. Like Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She's still there. Momoa's Aquaman. You know, Ray Fisher still wants to be Cyborg. Ezra Miller is still the Flash. Henry Cavill still wants to be Superman. The only sticking point could be Ben as Batman. And when I was talking about this to some friends earlier today, they were like, well, they're making that new Batman movie. That screws the whole thing up. That's a younger version of Batman. The Justice League version is an older version of Batman. You can have those movies existing in the same world. Weathered and recovering alcoholic Batman. Right. And then Robert Pattinson is the young, up-and-coming Batman. So this could all come together really, really nicely. Now, you saw Justice League in the theater. You liked it. Yeah. Are you excited to see a different take? As someone who is not diehard like me, obviously for me, this is probably the biggest. If this is the only good news that comes out of this whole pandemic, it was worth it. But as someone who enjoyed the movie they saw, would you be excited to see a very different story with those same characters? I think people like me need people like you to explain, why is this happening? Why is there a new, same, different movie coming out? Because if it just came out, if it was like Justice League, the Zack Snyder, the Rob Schneider cut. You can do it, Batman. You can do it. You know, I'd be like, who? What? Why? I would be confused. So you're saying the world needs geeks. Yeah. But anyway, so this is great. We don't have a definitive date in 2021. We just know it's going to be 2021. I could not be more excited about this. And this is one of those things of like, just if you believe in it, it can happen. Okay. I'm so happy. Start believing in world peace. So now, right here, there's another cut that needs to be released then probably. And that's the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Because Warner Brothers took that and gave it to another group of people to edit it together. We lost most of Jared Leto's Joker and all that kind of stuff. So, release the Ayer cut? Is that not a hashtag yet? I don't know, but I'm thinking of starting it. Because I want to see that too. So that would be great. I think that one's a longer shot because they have the new Suicide Squad movie coming that James Gunn is doing. And I think that's a longer shot. But anyway, still super excited. The Snyder Cut is happening. Now, sticking with DC, because it's been a big week for DC, this one in television, Ruby Rose has left Batwoman. Why?
She said it was a very hard decision, and that was kind of all she said. I read a report today that apparently I really hope this isn't true. She was not enjoying the long hours that it takes to be the lead on a show like that. So her and Warner Brothers Television came to the agreement that the easiest thing to do would be for her to leave the show.
Is there not a union that can cut her hours back, or does she want to be the supporting actor from now on? I mean, why become an actor?
And what?
That's like Mecca.
Well, and that, like, a role like here's the thing: whether it's television or movies, I've never understood the actors that sit there and go, you know what, I'm done with that role. Like people that have been Batman or whatever and been like, you know what, I'm done with that. If I ever get a role like that is basically going to pay me.
Parallel universe Scott.
Right. In Parallel Universe Scott, that's Batman in the movie. Don't laugh at that. It's not like I said Superman. Come on. You know, I would never leave that role until they told me to leave. Like when you see these actors going, you know, I can't be James Bond anymore. Shut the fuck up.
Because they take themselves too seriously.
Don't.
Something goes in someone's head like, I am too good for this. I'm going to be Shakespeare. Like, look at every SNL character that is left. I'd say 80% of them have not done anything else because they want to do something else. But it's like, maybe just stick with what you were good for.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. So anyway, so Ruby Rose, that's the rumor that she wasn't happy with the long hours and the work she had to put in to be Batwoman. So that's why she's leaving. Jeez. But
I wish someone would pay me to be a superhero that gets to work out all the time. Can you imagine being paid to work out?
She's paid to work out. They do her diet for her.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. She looks badass in this costume.
I don't like her hair in it, though.
But that's hair from the comics.
It's a little silly looking.
It helps hide her identity.
It makes her look like a pony. Like an S&M pony suit.
So they are going to recast for season 2.
So you're saying there's a chance for Parallel Universe Natalie.
There is a chance. It'll be interesting to see who they cast, because I thought Ruby Rose was perfect casting on many levels. She has the look.
She's got great lips, good chin.
Great lips, great chin line. So in the cowl, she looks great.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's important.
The character on the show is lesbian Ruby Rose. So there was honesty in it.
Yeah.
Be curious to see who they cast now to pick up the mantle of Batwoman going forward in season 2. And the first season was a success. So if you're the person that's recast, you kind of hope it doesn't go down the tubes, because then it's going to fall on you. And the only other thing is, like, honestly, Ruby Rose, what the fuck else she got to do?
I know. I think that's a... I just think that's
I think this
silly.
is a bad move for her. I do. Like, career-wise, I think this is bad.
She's probably going to go play Ophelia in the next friggin' Hamlet remake, and then that'll tank. It will.
On to Marvel. Only really one Marvel story of note, and that is there is a secret Marvel movie in the works at Sony. Of course, Sony has the rights to the Spider-Verse, basically, and they are looking at their first female-led movie in the Spider-Verse. Now, there's a ton of great female...
Starring Ruby Rose!
There's a ton of great female characters, like there's Spider-Woman. She could go from Batwoman to Spider-Woman. But there's Spider-Woman, there's Gwen Stacy, there's Black Cat, there's all kinds of great characters. And the strong rumor is a character called Madam Web. And if you're unfamiliar with Madam Web... First, before I tell you about Madam Web, they want an A-lister in the role, apparently. Like, their short list has, like, Charlize Theron, Amy Adams, those type of people.
Amy Adams is an A-lister?
She is an A-lister. She's Lois Lane. Anyway, but that's who they're looking at. Now, here's the thing about Madam Web, if you are unaware. She is an old lady. And when I say old lady, I mean, like, retirement home old lady.
That's rude, Scott.
Well, no, that's what she... And you know what she does? She sits in a chair. She doesn't do anything else.
So you're saying there's a chance for actual universe Natalie.
Yes.
Old lady that sits in a chair and does nothing else.
But you're not old. Like, you need... Like, this needs to be Betty White.
Okay.
Like, that's who... Like, Madam Web is a terrible... She's a good supporting character. Like... she pops up. Because I remember in the cartoon,
what is she? What's going on with what would the story be about? Does she turn younger? Like, does she jump off walls? And
when I remember from the cartoons, she would show up occasionally to help Peter Parker. She's very wise. She's Yoda-like almost. And she would help Peter Parker harness his powers a bit more, give him advice, or lead him down the right road. That's why I say, like, she's a great supporting character. I do not need a Madam Web movie all on her own. I don't need an old lady sitting in a chair. In my day, we used to shoot
was she a superhero?
No.
So why does she have Madam Web in her name?
I don't know.
I guess we don't need geeks. You don't know anything.
I know a lot, just not a lot about Madam Web. I'm sorry. Star Wars news. We continue to get casting news about The Mandalorian Season 2. This one, Timothy Olyphant has joined the cast. He was on Justified. He's a bad guy in Live Free or Die Hard. He's been in a bunch of them. He was on that, I forget the name of it now, the show with Drew Barrymore on Netflix. The Santa Claus diet show.
Her husband?
Yes.
Oh, he's a hunk.
Yeah.
I think he voices truck commercials.
I think he does too.
He's going to be in it, eh?
He's going to be in it.
He's too dashing.
Here's the thing. We even have some information on him. So spoilers a little bit here because we're going by guessing. Because reports have come out that he will wear Boba Fett's armor, but will not be Boba Fett. So, if we go down...
So we'll just hear his voice.
No. We're probably going to see his face, because if we go down the road of the novels, there was a character called Cobb Vanth who gets Boba Fett's armor from Jawas, who pick it up after he falls into the Sarlacc pit. And he takes that armor...
I don't know anything you're saying. I'm following. I understand.
Like in Return of the Jedi, he falls. Yeah. Anyway, he gets that armor from the Jawas and becomes the sheriff of a settlement called Freetown on Tatooine. So, if you connect the dots there, if that is who he is playing, then that means the Mandalorian, the child, Baby Yoda, are probably going to Tatooine. And we also know that Boba Fett is in the show, so maybe Boba Fett is going to have to go to this guy, kick his ass, and get his armor back.
Interesting.
Very cool. Like, I'm excited for Mandalorian Season 2, but as I said last week, I am a little worried that they're squeezing too much into it.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of news lately, and...
It's an extra stuffed burrito at this point. Like, it's a lot happening there.
Saucy.
And the only kind of downer news that we had in the geek news this week is Picard Season 2's production has been delayed, of course, due to coronavirus. They're apparently halfway through writing the season. So just finish writing it then, and then just hit the ground running on production. Work from home. My only fear, and like, listen, he's not that young. Patrick, like, if he was a lady, he could be Madam Web.
Yeah, he can play Madam Web.
So we need to kind of get this show going.
Oh, he's so pumped with chemicals and stuff. They know how to handle their Hollywood.
Formaldehyde? Like, what?
Look at Amy Adams. Isn't she like 60? She's still playing Lois Lane. I mean, all these people are pumped with formaldehyde.
I hope Picard Season 2 gets under production sooner rather than later, just because I haven't watched Picard Season 1 yet. I want to. But everybody I've talked to said it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, and
that you don't have to be into Star Trek or have watched, whatever, the series from the 90s to...
Yeah, The Next Generation. Yeah, from everything people have said, you can just pick it up. Yeah. So hopefully that gets underway soon. We have a website now.
Good for you.
ScottyMarsMedia.com. You can go check that out. That will be the place to go if you're looking for the latest podcast episode, if you're looking for any kind of the YouTube videos that pop up every now and then. There may be blog posts up there if I feel the need to write something, or if you just need a smooth-ass voiceover dude. You can contact me there as well. So go check that out, ScottyMarsMedia.com. And until we chat again, have a great week.